This is Andrew for The Chosen Prime with a video preview of KFC Toys Heavy Metal Phase 8A Simba, or their take on a masterpiece sized and scaled Victory Leo. This is a pre-production sample, so it's not quite finished yet. There's some paint application, it's missing some chrome here in these little bits, but essentially this is the full figure as he will come out retail. As you can see, he's quite large, and I'll do a quick brief comparison here to show him off with his other partner here, with the official Masterpiece Star Saber. And one thing to get out of the way right out of the bat is that this feels like essentially an official product. It feels just like this figure, from the way it's designed, the way that kind of the plastic feels, the overall design and kind of detailing. You're getting a great counterpart to the official product here. As far as Simba himself, he does come with several different accessories. He comes with this little shield piece here that also makes the nose kind of the jet, and you can mount it on his arm. There's a peg here on his arm and a peg hole on the shield, and you can just have him kind of wield the shield like that. He also comes with a pair of flight stand extensions here, one for his jet mode as well as for the combined kind of Victory Saber jet mode configuration. He comes with this little piece here, which is more like a flight stand, but is also used as part of the combined mode, and I'll show that off. As far as weapons, he does come with a little tail whip here. It's part of his lion mode, but it also can be used to be a whip, and it's keyed to match the kind of the slot in his hands here. And he does have individual articulated fingers on ball joints, kind of standard for KFC. Very, very nice. And you just make sure that you can, peg it into that slot in his hand. He holds it very securely. And then all these little ball joints you can use to, kind of set him up to have that whip look quite good. He also comes with the V-lock cannon, or a version of the V-lock cannon. And you can see here it's quite massive and large. It actually can extend even further. It's also keyed to fit into his hand. So if we just go ahead and peg it in here, and again, it is because it's so big, he only can hold it in certain positions, but he can wrap his fingers around it and hold the weapon. Just like the G1 toy or the cartoon, you can take this gun here, pull this out, slide it back, and then you have access to this peg here. And there's actually a peg hole on the side of his kind of stomach here, and you can peg the V-lock cannon in there, and you can homage, the original toy, just like he had the gun on the side here. And in addition, he also has his little cannons here on his hips, and they're on ball joints and can rotate a little bit, and then they can extend to have Gatling guns on both sides, and they can be kind of posed however you like. Very nice. You can hear a whole lot of ratchets in this guy, and I'll get to that kind of detail in a moment. And then the guns in the back here, if we turn them around, these cannons, not only are they on hinges that can move up and down, but then they're also on slides. You can bring them forward and have them aim forward or kind of point around. You have a lot of different options as far as kind of getting those guns set up. And just a really, really cool version of Victory Leo. Very briefly, if you're not familiar with who Victory Leo is, he's from the Transformers Victory toy line and cartoon from Japan that never made it to the US. The gist of it is that he is a rebuilt ginormous to help aid Star Saber, who's the new leader of the Autobots in that timeline. And so essentially what this character is, he's not only has a robot mode, a lion mode, a jet mode, but more importantly, he's able to combine with Star Saber to make Victory Saber kind of an overall super mode for Star Saber. Taking a closer look here at Simba, much like Masterpiece Star Saber, most of the color across him is actually due to the different plastics they use versus paint, which again matches very well to Star Saber. As far as weight, he's over 2 pounds 4 ounces, so he's very heavy, very similar to Star Saber. And then just real quick for the height, from the floor to the top of his guns where it was here is about 15 inches. So again, he's a very big figure. As far as like overall articulation in his arms, there's ratchets everywhere. Ratchets here, ratchets out. He does have a bicep swivel, ratchet at his elbow. His hands can rotate. Again, you have the individual kind of KFC fingers, which are very nice and strong. He can rotate at the waist. These guns can move. The legs, ratcheted inward, outward, and very strong. His knees are actually double jointed due to both of his modes. And again, they're ratcheted. Even his toes here are ratcheted, and there's a two-part kind of mechanism here for his feet where you have a heel spur, and they both move together as well as independently. And just, you know, quite amazing what they've done here with this figure. I mean, even on the back here, if we come around to look at the backpack, the wings here are ratcheted. So for a figure that's not only standalone, but that combines, you know, since he splits in half to make a Victory Saber, that even just this mode looks as good as it does is quite nice. His head here can rotate. It is on a swivel, so it can move forward and back, similar to Masterpiece Ultra Magnus. And you can see he's got a nice kind of silver face here and bits of chrome. Again, this piece here will be fixed in the final version, and these will be chromed gold, just like Masterpiece Star Saber. As far as these guns, so again, they're on kind of these hinges, but they're also pegged in. So you can see there's a peg here. So if you want to, you can peg each of them into his arms on the sides here if you want to homage the figure that way. It's just kind of cool, all the different ways you can play with this figure, and this is just even the robot mode. As far as posability, here's an example of some of the poses you can get him in. Again, due to the amount of joints he has and just how strong all the ratchets are, the way he's got the ankle tilt, he can just hold really nice dynamic poses such as this one. And again, with the fingers, you can get a whole lot of different expressions with the fingers and the head and all the different weapons. Just a really, really great robot mode here for Simba. So let's go ahead and we'll transform him into his lion mode. With this being a pre-production sample, I unfortunately do not have instructions, so I'll do my best to show off the transformation accurately. To begin, we'll do his arms. So come to the arm here, lift this flap up, close up the fist, and then we will rotate it into the slot here, and then close this up. The paw part here will slide out, and then we slide it back. Take this claw part, and if you look, there actually are 3 separate claws here, and it's on a ball joint, so you can move these in and out if you want to kind of have his claws further away. So we'll do the other hand real quick. So come here, open this flap, ball up the fist, rotate it in, close this flap, rotate out with the paw, slide it up, and then we'll move the fingers or the claws. We'll come to his face here, push down on his chin to slide the head backwards, and then slide this little black kind of chin part downwards, kind of letting you have the clearer piece here. Open up the jaw, and then these little pieces here, these little chrome teeth, kind of fangs, will move forward, and you can slide kind of the head down. You can kind of see there's the cat head. We'll come to the legs here. It's pretty simple. Rotate the toe and the heel spur back on both sides. And then much like MP10, we want to push this button here and let us go ahead and collapse the leg. I will note that originally on this version it was a very tight fit to push up the leg, and kind of just undoing the screws a little bit kind of got rid of some of that tension. We want to lift up on this hip skirt here, and so this can fit fully flush. So we'll do that on both sides. Lift the skirt, push this little red button, and then collapse the leg up. If we take the tail part right here, and there's a channel here that matches kind of this kind of T part of the tail, we want to slide that here and then sandwich and peg the legs together to have the tail be in place. We can come to these legs here, and you can hear the ratchets for the lion legs. I'm going to rotate this backwards. I'm going to do that on both sides. And you do have some play here with the back legs. They do normally peg into the side, but then they can move out, and then you have an angle piece here that rotates and pivots. So if you kind of want to have a bit wider stance, you can. We'll come to these wings up here. So we go ahead and fold them out so that they're full extension. And then it's personal preference here. There's actually a separate joint right here on the wing. And if we untab it, we can move it further back onto his back. And then there's also, you see here, there's a joint here if you want to bend up the wings. So you have a lot of options here. So I think it makes sense to kind of move this further onto the robot back. And this, again, this is a very strong joint to kind of take it and just kind of shift it downwards. And we can make sure that these cannons are moved in place. They will peg onto the back here. And we're almost done. This is the core lion mode here. And let's get him set up. Again, he's very large, very big. And we can take the V-lock cannon, and again, with this part right here, there is a peg hole on his back where you can peg in the V-lock cannon. And here we've got Victory Leo in his lion mode. And you can see that it is very imposing. He does have lots of nice detail in this mode. As far as his head here, his head can rotate as well as slide up and down. He does have a moving jaw, and the upper teeth here do open up so you can get some wide poses there, but then he does have the upper teeth as well. The arms here in the front, again, these claws can kind of move in and out. They are on ball joints. You can kind of have him reaching forward. If you like, you can extend his legs here if you want to kind of get some more options there. It's a personal preference on how you want to kind of get them set up there. These wings can angle up. The guns, again, can kind of angle up and twist. The the V-lock cannon can move up. As far as this torso here, he does still have his waist articulation, and these legs, again, move further out, and then you have basic ratcheting, and the tail, with it being a nice bunch of ball joints, you do have a lot of options there for Victory Leo here in his lion mode. I think most collectors that won't have him when he's combined will have him kind of in this lion mode, as he was more often in the show. And I think KFC has done a really, really good job here of making this new monstrous and masterpiece scale version of the lion mode for Victory Leo. So I'll go ahead and I'll transform him into his jet mode. To transform Simba into his jet mode, we'll start by removing the V-lock cannon here. Just unpeg it. We will come to the back and we'll unpeg the tail for now and remove it. We want these cannons here on the side, we want them rotated up so they sit along his side like this on both sides. So just kind of make sure they're rotated there. With these claws, we want to rotate the arm 180, and then the arm part right here will extend, and then you can rotate it around and it'll sit on the underside here like this. Again, I don't have official instructions, this is kind of the best that I know to kind of get this mode looking like what it's supposed to. We'll come to the other arm and do the same thing. Rotate it 180, extend the hand, flip it backwards, kind of collapse this against the side, and then rotate it so that the arm's sitting like that. With the back leg here, we want to go ahead and rotate it 90 degrees this around and then slide it up. So essentially we get this kind of shape for the side. So again, rotate this piece and then angle this back. And this leg part would kind of essentially sit flush there with the side. I'm coming to these wings here. And you can either leave these on so they're facing around this way, but I will take them off and show you where you can install them elsewhere. Again, take these wings and we want to ratchet them back to the original kind of full position. Again, these are really tight joints. And they'll lock into place, and we'll do that on both sides. The lion head will come, and it'll actually it's tabbed into the chest here, so you want to pull up, and this can be a bit tricky. You can see there's a tab here. We want to have it so that it's facing up like this. And again, that's just kind of how the original toy was. Now we want to come to this shield piece here. And if we look, there's a panel here we want to fold out. And then these two pieces here will collapse and peg in together. And there's the front of the jet mode. And similarly, the same channel that we used for the tail, there's this on this piece. We want to kind of situate this in here. Now the tricky part about getting this all situated is we want you can see here there's red pieces, these red little bumps on the feet. We want those to sandwich the two black halves, you know, of the king. And so it's a bit tricky to kind of get this installed here. But we want to essentially sandwich it into that position. And so here I've got the nose kind of fixed. It did take a little bit of work off camera to kind of get it to fit, and mainly because of how tight it fits between the two pieces as well as the pieces of the feet here. And here's his kind of non-armored version of his jet mode. If we wanted to, we can take out these little kind of tabs here, these pegs, and fold them out. And we can take the guns. They're originally on his back, and they have peg holes that match. We can peg them in to the sides here in the front, on each side. And then if we want to install the V-lock, we can just kind of bend the head back a little bit further. And here's the kind of V-lock cannon installed onto his back. And here's his massive armored kind of jet mode here. Decent, still pretty cool. He's about 17 inches long altogether, so he's quite massive here in his jet mode. He does come with the flight stand capability in this mode, so if we look on the underside here, we see his kind of crotch, and here's this piece. And much like Star Saber, it's kind of, this piece is built to kind of sandwich around this part of his torso, and it holds him pretty securely. And then we've got these two little pegs, which if we take this little part of this shield part of this kind of combiner part, now we've got him in his jet mode, and he can be kind of sitting here on the flight stand. I will note that if you do not want to use the flight stand, he does have landing gear, both in the front and the back, and it's just a matter of kind of flipping them out. They're here on his feet. You can see they flip them out, and then there are in here in his chest. If we flip these pieces out, you can see those little wheels. That if we slide them down, and again, you just kind of see where they're in his chest, and you can have him just sitting there on his wheels if you so choose. So pretty neat. So let's go ahead, and I will now do the first of the combinations to get him combined with jet mode with Star Saber. To do the main combination into the overall jet mode, we want to take off the cannon here. We also want to unpeg the front here and remove this piece and undo these guns on both sides. We want to take this part here, open it up again, and we want to take the part of his flight stand here, and there's a lot of different parts here, and there's a hinge here at the base. We want to open it up, and it's very strong. You can see that it opens up here and hinges open, and then there's this little stem here. If we grab a hold of it, it now makes it so that we can take this piece and use this part as a flight stand. So you want to push this all the way through, and you want to push this piece here so that it's all the way down. You can see there's a little nub here on the blue part. You want to make sure that it's flush this way. So this is now a rear flight stand. We want to come to Star Saber's flight stand and undo this piece, and using the extension that came with Simba, install it. And just, again, it just adds more height so that you can connect. And you can use this as a base flight stand, which I'll show off later, but then you have it set up like this. Reattach the guns here onto Simba's back with the cannons facing forward. Come to these leg sections here. We want to untab them and fold them down like that. Straighten out the paws so that essentially the legs are at a 90-degree angle. And if we look at the bottom of this paw here, there's a little tab that if we get a tool to kind of open this up and pry it up, it matches a tab hole on the back of this paw. So essentially we want to kind of make it so that these two feet lock together like that. Come to the side here, these little tabs here, they're a little tricky to see. You want to unlock them so that they're open with the locking tab facing forward on both sides. So again, come here and like that. And now we need to bring Star Saber in. And this is going to get even trickier. And essentially those little black tabs now, they will lock in to the back of Star Saber. So let's see if I can get this all to line up. Lock that, that. And remove the little gun here for the much larger V-lock cannon. And there's the combined mode all together in one giant heavy spaceship. So let me go ahead and try to get it lined up with their flight stands. And here we've got them both combined in their massive combined jet mode. It is fairly secure with the flight stands like this. And the locking tabs from Simba's legs do lock onto Star Saber very strongly. So if you did want this as a display option, it's nice that they did add this playability to be able to make this giant version of the combined Victory Saber in jet mode. So let's go ahead and I will now show off the transformation for the robot mode for Victory Saber. Going into Victory Saber mode for Simba here, I find it easiest to come from robot mode here. So what we want to do is separate the upper torso here from the lower bits. And there's these little red tabs here that if we lift up and pressing the tabs, he separates here. So we'll go ahead and focus on this piece. This piece makes the backpack for Victory Saber, and it's pretty straightforward. We just need to pretty much transform most of his limbs back so that they're hidden. So we want to hide these fists like we did before. And come to the other side. Come to the head, and we want to hinge it so that it's kind of hiding here in the back of the backpack. These pieces here, the guns, we want to hinge them up and over. And we're going to do that on both sides of the lamp. We want to rotate them around. So you may have to slide them up on their channels. Take the wings here and fully extend them once more. Make sure the arms are straight. And then we can show off the locking tabs. So there's this tab that opens up, this one on the side, this one, and then this. These two here will be the core ones that lock into this backpack, as well as these little tabs, these little white tabs here. This is kind of just a little piece. I think on the final version, when this part comes down, it'll lock a little bit better than on the prototype here. But here's the backpack for Victory Saber ready to go. The lower half here, the legs, end up turning into Victory Saber's boots. We want to take the halves here and split them. You can kind of see how they would tab together. And we'll work on one boot first. We want to come to this piece here, extend this piece, and then flip out the toe and move it so it sits straight up like that. And by default, I have a pretty ingenious mechanism here to make it so that you can still rotate this, but we want to be able to fold this piece over. And so there's actually a little locking tab just hidden right here. If we just move it to the right, it frees it so that we can fold it over. We come to the toes here and collapse them. I'm not quite sure how these orange legs are supposed to be positioned, but essentially I found it works with just them being kind of set straight like this. And what we want to do is come to this upper part here, rotate it 90 and then fold it over, and you can kind of see how it collapses down. And there's now this new little red peg here, matches a peg hole here. And so you want to kind of collapse the leg partially. So push the button to kind of collapse it, and then you want to make it so that you collapse it enough so that this piece can peg into there. And you actually have room to kind of stretch with most of the leg. But if we flip it over and fold up this tab, there is one boot ready to go, so we'll work on the next. And we come to the other side. So again, come to this piece, flip it out, extend it from the inner part, flip out the toe, lift it up, unlock that little tab by now this time it's on the left, rotate 90 and fold it over on itself. Straighten out this orange cat leg, fold in the toes, get the little button push so you can kind of start collapsing the leg, and then again just kind of sandwich it down so that you can kind of match up that little red peg with this little black peg hole in the black on the orange cat leg. And it does peg in very securely. It's a very tight fit. And then we'll come around and flip up this piece, and we've got both boots. Now that we have the boots, we'll bring in Star Saber. And this little black tab here, this is his left boot. There's a little black kind of peg here, and that matches a peg hole on the back of his leg here. So if we take the boot and kind of just have him stand on it and peg in that black panel here in the back, come to his toe here in the front, kind of curl around this side. And it's not fully secure yet, but we'll get them both that way. So we'll have him put the other boot on. Again, put that little back peg in there and kind of curl the toes around. And now we need to come to this piece. This was the flight stand. If we pull it apart, we have two little kind of feet covers, and they also help lock it down. And so if we look, there's a peg hole on both sides that kind of match peg holes here on the red feet, and it'll cover the foot. This can be a bit tricky to kind of get it all lined up because these red feet parts don't want to stretch apart. But essentially, by doing that, you're now locking that boot in fully. And so we'll do it on the other side. We'll kind of just feed in one peg on one side, stretch the red out just enough. And there are his boots fully attached. And you can see they're quite massive, so we'll go ahead and work on his backpack. So to prep Star Saber for his backpack, we want to take this little panel and make sure it's folded down, which reveals these two little peg holes here. And that's the primary spot where these white tabs on the backpack will fit. And then these little kind of pieces here will kind of hook around on this part, and then this piece will kind of fit and right behind the canopy here. So we'll go ahead and see if we can get this all to line up. Again, it's the white tabs are kind of the more important part to kind of get first. Do the sides, and then come up top and make sure that that top piece is kind of locked into place. And there we've got Victory Saber fully combined. And here now we've got the full combined version of Victory Saber thanks to the additions of Simba. He is huge in this mode. He's about 20 inches tall to the top of his cannons up here, and he's 4 pounds 3 ounces, so he's very heavy. And yeah, it does have a lot more weight now with the backpack added to him. And so unfortunately you could have issues with the knees here. These ratchets in here really aren't meant to deal with that kind of weight. You still can get him to pose and move forward because the boots do enough surface area to kind of hold him up. But if you want to kind of negate that issue, you can take the hips here and rotate them 90 degrees, like which we do for the jet mode, and he won't be able to lean backwards because again, he's got plenty of room here and surface area to kind of get him from tipping over. It's just that these ratchets can be a bit loose, and you can see that he is, the boots do stick and the backpack does stick. And so just play with these hips here when you want to pose him, kind of moving him around. So this is really, really cool. Again, very, very heavy, very, very tall. So let's go ahead and take a look at some close-up detail for this guy. Taking a closer look here, you see that the backpack added by Simba really does match the official release from the whites to the reds and overall design. They look like they were made by Takara or official product. And they look like what you would hope a Masterpiece version of Victory Saber would look like. And you get the additional bonuses of course, these guns can move and rotate, and they're on those hinges. The wings here not only can ratchet forward and back, but then they have that, the ability to ratchet up if you'd like. So that's quite interesting and cool. Unfortunately, due to the limitations of the official stock Star Saber hands here, they had a difficulty holding his sword because there's really no peg hole. And the same thing is kind of the same for the V-lock cannon here, that on these stock hands, one, the arm kind of gets in the way, but then he doesn't have the way for this to peg in correctly for him to hold the gun. You can, in certain situations, have him kind of hold it, but it's not a very secure connection. So I think the KFC hands kind of solve that issue. Taking a closer look at the legs here and the boots, you can see that they fit in quite well, and they are very reminiscent of the original G1 Victory Saber boots. And again, they're nice and massive, so he's not going to have any issues of tipping over. And they do have ankle articulation, pretty good ankle articulation to be able to hold it. And again, a lot of surface area to kind of get him so that he really doesn't ever going to tip back. It's really nice looking lower torso here from Simba's editions. Here's an example of a pose you can have in his combined form. Once you get them balanced, you can hold really great poses. The boots have good ankle articulation. They don't let them bend backwards. And the backpack with the wings just add a whole nice detail and color. I think KFC's done an amazing job of making this Masterpiece version of Victory Saber, and he looks awesome in this mode. So let's go ahead and take a look at some comparisons for this guy. Remote comparisons here between Simba and Masterpiece Star Saber. Again, you can see they're pretty much the same height. They have the same kind of amount of detailing throughout to kind of match the animation and the toy, so they're not overly detailed or different. The reds between the two are very similar. And this overall build, they look like they come from the same toy line. They look like they're an accurate pair of Autobots here. They just look good side by side. I think KFC Toys has really stepped up their game to make this look like it's practically official. I mean, you would, if you didn't know any better, you would assume here that Simba is an official Victory Leo. Comparing Star Saber here to Victory Leo in his line mode, you can see they look good side by side, and you can see just how massive Simba is here in his line mode as Victory Leo. And he looks good side by side, but he's huge and posing and, you know, accurate to what you would hope a Masterpiece sized and scaled version of Victory Leo would look like in his lion mode. Jet mode comparisons. I will note that Star Saber here is higher due to the extension that comes with Simba. But you can see that they fly here at the same size, and just how big Simba is here in his jet mode or spaceship mode in comparison. I mean, they're both huge, but you know, just Simba just outclasses the size of Masterpiece Star Saber here. And what's nice is these feel like, you know, nice updates of what you would hope a modern take on a new Victory toy in the Masterpiece scale would look like. You still get all the same kind of features, you just get a lot better paint, and you get a lot more playability, just overall kind of fun and authenticity across these two figures, and Simba is just a great addition here from KFC. To give you an idea of the scale of Victory Saber in its fully combined mode, here we've got Masterpiece Delta Magnus, MP-10 Optimus Prime, and Masterpiece Bumblebee. You can see how this combined form of Victory Saber just towers over all previous Masterpiece releases. Star Saber was tall to begin with, but once you add the bits from Simba to make the fully combined Victory Saber, he just is massive. And you can see stylistically, he looks like he fits with other official Masterpiece product. I think KFC has done an amazing job here of giving us this Masterpiece Victory Saber. Some final thoughts for KFC Toys Simba, or their take on a Masterpiece Victory Leo. This essentially is the best Victory Leo we're ever going to see, official or otherwise. KFC is kind of hit outside the park. He matches Star Saber, the plastics there, the paint's there, the build, the ratchet, the design. He's got all the modes. He's got all the accessories. He is a Masterpiece size Victory Leo. And if you really want to add this character and get yourself a Victory Saber, you really can't go wrong here with Simba. Even in this pre-production state, this is easily the best piece that's ever come out of KFC. It's really phenomenal, and it's just, if you really like this character, you're never gonna find anything better. We're expecting to get our stock of this toy sometime mid-October. If you want to pick him up, he comes very, very highly recommended, so take care.